Jakarta, one of the world's great megacities, is at breaking point. Home to 30 million people and sinking.
Ya cemas semua. Warga ya bakalan terjadi banjir lagi kalau sampai tanggul itu jebol.
A clogged and polluted capital.
The pollution is something that you can taste. That's how bad it is.
And a president determined to forge a bold solution before he leaves office.
Sehingga beban Pulau Jawa, beban Jakarta itu memang sudah di luar kapasitas yang dimiliki.
Now Indonesia is embarking on a radical plan to start afresh and build a new capital city, not near Jakarta, but more than 1,000 kilometres away, deep in the jungles of Borneo. A grand plan promising a utopian forest city that's clean, green and sustainable.
It looks like beautiful and unbelievable, and also smart for a city.
But not everyone is on board.
Jadi kita melihat memang ini keputusan yang tidak demokratis sejak awal. Ini yang kita kemudian melihat ada semacam keputusan yang otoriter.
This project is a white elephant that wastes limited resources.
10,000 labourers like these guys are working day and night to get this mega project built. But with the clock ticking down, can Indonesia really pull this off? And have a functioning capital up and running before the year is out?
The plan going into reality is something that I dream of. Inshallah, we will make it.
Jakarta is one of the world's great bustling cities. Each year, new towers rise to the sky. And it's up high where the first major problem of this metropolis becomes obvious. The constant thick haze. Jakarta is one of the world's worst capital cities for air pollution. Car exhaust fumes are a major factor, along with coal-fired power plants nearby. But there are some creative methods to try to disperse it.
Oke, Pak. Bagaimana cara?
Cara ini kita buka airnya.
Air is water.
Penuh, ya.
First step, turn on the water.
Ini penuh. Air penuh.
Into the bucket.
Ya.
Full of water, ya.
Ya, penuh, airnya penuh. Kita buka ini. Buka ini.
Buka
ya ke sana.
Turn on the tap so the water goes through.
Terus ini kita colokin pompanya supaya bisa udara, ya.
The final step.
Ya.
Plug it in.
Iya, plug ya.
Kemudian buka ya.
Buka ya.
Jakarta's government has ordered all tall buildings in the middle of the city to install water spray machines. The mist is supposed to improve the air quality, at least around each building that has one.
Ini kita laksanakan setiap siang. Satu hari dinyalakan dari jam 8 pagi, setiap 2 jam on, 2 jam off sampai sore.
Maintenance man Sakisno and his team made this machine out of parts that cost less than $300.
And can you see a difference, do you think, when you turn it on, when you look around the building?
Kita belum pernah ngecek sih, Pak.
So this is more about complying with the regulations rather than actually making a concrete difference.
Iya, kewajiban dari pemerintah supaya menyediakan air untuk mengurangi polusi udara itu aja.
Despite the water spray, pollution levels regularly choke the city. Most days, pollution levels in Jakarta hover between 5 to 10 times the World Health Organization's recommended standard.
Yeah, I don't know where they got the idea from, actually, that misting building Again, I think that's typical Indonesia government. They just only work on the symptoms, but never really work on the source of the problem.
Elisa Sutanajadja is a former architect and urban activist.
The pollution is something that you can taste. That's how bad it is. Usually it's just something you see, but this is now in Jakarta something you can taste as well.
She got so fed up with the dirty air, she successfully sued the national government to change their air quality standard.
WHO's air quality standard is 15, for example, but Indonesia's standard is 65.
Elisa is clear-eyed on the city's problems, but doesn't think they justify moving the capital.
You still have to fix the problem. Doesn't mean you can run away from this problem.
Is that the feeling that some people have, that the new capital is kind of giving up on Jakarta and running away?
So, yeah, probably the government don't really want to solve the problem, so just run away from it.
When it comes to problems, Jakarta has many. And on ground level, there's one issue everyone talks about every day. Traffic congestion like this costs the Indonesian economy an estimated $6 billion a year. I'm on my way now to North Jakarta, which is about 20 kilometres away, but in a car in this traffic, it could take hours. I'm just hoping on one of these bikes it'll be a little bit quicker. It's a slow crawl to the northern edge of Jakarta, but I've arrived. Okay. Hey, Sumo. Namanya Bill. Nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you. This is where you work?
Iya, saya kerja di sini.
I've come to meet motorbike repairman Sumo. He fixes scooters out the front of this shop and has lived here for his entire life. Kita bisa pergi ke sana?
Bisa. Nanti saya anterin ke rumah saya.
Oke.
Di dalam gang sini nih, rumah saya di sana. Nah.
Ini ya?
Iya, masuk ke dalam. Iya, sempit banget jalanannya.
It's an area battling one of the biggest problems facing this megacity. Jakarta is sinking. By 2050, it's estimated around a quarter of the city will be submerged. Sumo lives in a humid room hidden by the alleyways with his wife and 7-month-old son.
Hidup di sini ya kalau dibilang berat ya berat. Bukan saya doang, semua juga berat kayaknya kalau orang hidup di sini mah. Susah keluarga ya emang tempatnya sempit. Kalau lagi mati lampu itu mati air.
Less than half of Jakarta's population has access to piped water, with many residents forced to buy water in. Others pump groundwater from wells, causing the ground to sink. In some places, up to 10 centimetres a year. Along with rising sea levels, Jakarta has been hit by 2 devastating tidal floods in the past decade.
Iya, waktu dulu banjir bikin sengsara semuanya.
Bertahan.
Kasihan, orang pada rumah warga itu pada terendam semua karena banjirnya terlalu tinggi. Pada acak-acakan lah di dalam rumah maupun di luar rumah. Udah gitu pada larinya itu ngungsinya ke lantai 2. Soalnya waktu itu banjirnya lumayan parah, istilahnya udah parah banget sih.
To prevent future flooding, government authorities have built a giant seawall. 'Let's have a look, yeah?
Iya.
It's 1,000 meters high. 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 It's 1,000 But Sumo says he's not confident it will be enough to stop the water next time.
Ya ini dibangun pas tahun yang lalu, udah beberapa tahun yang lalu. Dia dilapis lagi, dihantam lagi sama ombak kan keropos tuh pada bolong.
No one knows when the next big floods will come. Sumo just tries to put it all out of his mind.
Halo, brother. Rasanya yang nggak bisa ninggalin karena tempat kelahiran.
He is one of the millions of people who won't be moving to the new capital city.
Pindah yang penting jangan pernah lupa aja gitu sama Jakarta, sama warga semuanya, semua warga itu.
Akan memenuhi kewajiban Presiden Republik Indonesia.
President Joko Widodo isn't the first Indonesian leader to propose moving the capital. The nation's post-colonial leader, Sukarno, had the idea originally, followed by others, including military dictator Suharto. But in 2019, President Joko Widodo resurrected the audacious plan to ease the burden on Jakarta and boost the national economy beyond Java.
Ini demi visi Indonesia maju. Indonesia yang hidup selama-lamanya.
The new capital would be built more than 1,000 kilometres away in East Kalimantan on Borneo Island. And this is the grand vision. Called Ibu Kota Nusantara, or IKN for short, the government promises the new city will be smart, convenient and powered by renewable energy. A so-called forest city, where by 2045 nearly 2 million people will live. With the deadline for the first goal of the project just 6 months away, and with Joko Widodo's term as president ending shortly, I want to find out how the new capital is progressing. So I'm leaving the smog of Jakarta. It's currently not an easy journey to reach the location of the new capital. It's a 2-hour flight to the port city of Balikpapan in East Kalimantan, and then another 2 hours drive through the jungle, where it's not the traffic holding us up. This is actually the first time I've been to this part of Indonesia, and it's quite amazing. The jungle is just so thick and lush. Our car even got stopped by a group of monkeys. It just feels so different to Jakarta. Soon, the jungle gives way to the dusty rattle of trucks. A frenzy of activity as 10,000 workers toil under the tropical sun to carve a city out of the hills. The work made all the more urgent by the imminent arrival of the President himself for a 3-day visit.
Presiden Republik Indonesia tiba di tempat acara.
He's come for a whirlwind series of groundbreaking ceremonies. A new mall, an international school,
Groundbreaking dimulai.
The President has just gone from one groundbreaking to another groundbreaking ceremony. He's keeping a hectic schedule because he wants to stress his project is on track.
His entourage brings Jakarta-style congestion to the construction site. But there's no slowing down the man in charge.
3, 2, 1.
Sekali lagi, keberadaan gedung perkantoran Bank Indonesia ini di IKN ini dapat meningkatkan kepercayaan masyarakat, dunia usaha, dan investor.
It's a message of much-needed assurance. This event is all about shoring up confidence. With a hefty $45 billion price tag, the government desperately needs private investors, especially from overseas. And despite a law forcing future governments to continue building, the upcoming change of leader is creating uncertainty. So far, no foreign investors have signed up.
Groundbreaking ini membuktikan kesungguhan, komitmen kita, kesiapan kita untuk membangun ibu kota Nusantara menjadi ibu kota yang berkelas dunia.
It might be the president's pet project, but it's his right-hand man who has the massive job of making it happen. Bambang Susantono has been put in charge of the new capital authority, the powerful body that answers directly to the president. At each groundbreaking event, I try to get a word with him. But he's a hard man to catch. Instead, the face of the new capital is my tour guide.
I catch your eye, you throw a glance.
After winning Miss East Kalimantan, Natasha Priyanka is now helping sell Indonesia's new capital to the next generation.
Tell me about Miss East Kalimantan.
And so this is Putri Indonesia. It's kind of like they are looking for a woman leader, the woman who's going to change and also be the voice of hope for others women and also for the people in East Kalimantan.
Natasha is a passionate advocate of the Nusantara dream. But it wasn't always that way.
So when you first heard about it, you were a bit worried, were you?
Yeah, I'm a bit worried. When someone asked me about what do you think about the new capital city that you're gonna move to East Kalimantan, I was like, oh my God, no way, because it's gonna destroy our forest, blah, 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 blah. But when I joined this autorita and I learned more, I learned a lot about this new capital city, I was just like, no, it's not destroying, but we rebuild.
Wherever she goes, tourists on a nationalistic pilgrimage to Indonesia's new capital want her photo. A team follows her around. But as the rain sets in, she has plenty more to show me.
At first, I was really amazed about how big it is, and the construction is really fast. The growth is really fast. Like last week, you didn't see anything here. And then next month, you see something.
Yeah, the scale of it is amazing.
Yeah, yes. The new capital city, you're going to see, like, this is not too good to be true, but it's going to be true and it's going to be fantastic.
When they say too good to be true, what do they mean?
I guess maybe they think, like, this is so... It is the vision, that a long vision journey, and we have to done this just for until 2045. Maybe they're not ready yet.
They feel like it might be too hard to pull this off.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's not hard. When we come together hand in hand and support this new capital city with the things that we can do, maybe the small things can make a bigger things.
She's taking me to see the core government area, where civil servants are supposed to work later this year. But we're struggling to get there.
Halo Mas Naldi, ini
and have to change to a different car.
I'm worried about your shoes.
It's okay.
Hopefully this four-wheel drive can get us through this place safely.
Just be careful.
This is wild. Okay.
Thank you.
With a four-wheel drive, we push on to the vantage point to finally get a glimpse of what this new capital will look like.
Wow. Look at this.
Yes, the new capital city of Indonesia.
This is where it's all happening.
Yes, that is.
What are we looking at here?
There, over there, is the presidential
palace.
Yes,
the most important building, I hear.
Yes, the very important one for an Independence Day in August.
In August?
Yes.
Just a few months.
The pressure is on.
Not everyone is happy to see this new city emerge. It's 3 a.m. and just outside the boundary of the city, Yati Dahlia, a member of the indigenous Balik community, is at the beginning of a long day.
Karena lahan saya masuk di kawasan inti pembangunan ibu kota, saya harus berpindah.
Before work on the new capital began, Dahlia ran a profitable business selling food from her family home. She's now trying to make a living selling food to workers and tourists at this newly built rest area owned by the Capital Authority.
Jadi kalau di warung yang dulu itu rame banget. Tapi gitu, kalau di sini ya begini, keadaannya memang sepi.
It's only a few minutes' drive to Dahlia's old house.
Right next to the highway. So many trucks, banyak trucks.
Iya, benar. Banyak sekali, banyak debu.
Oh.
Jadi memang benar-benar sakit sih, sakit hati, sedih gitu ngeliatin saya harus meninggalkan rumah saya ini gitu. Makanya nggak pernah balik lagi untuk ngecek-ngecek rumah karena memang banyak kesedihan, banyak.
Dahlia has been offered some compensation for her property, but had to move her family before receiving it.
Bahkan untuk membangun rumah kami tidak bisa, apalagi untuk membangun usaha. Tidak cukup uang yang mereka gantikan, itu tidak cukup apa-apa. Untuk membuka lahan dengan adanya alasan pembangunan ibu kota, pemerintah mengambil dengan harga yang sangat murah.
As the sun sets over the new capital site, we finally catch Bambang Susantono for a chat.
Thank you so much for your time. You're a busy man.
Okay, that's my job, part of the job.
Pak Bambam, it's your job to make this new capital happen. You must have a lot of pressure. Do you feel it?
Yes, I guess the pressure is there because it's going to be a challenge for anybody who is taking this job, right? Because we are going to develop not only a city, but a capital city. And not only a capital city, but a sustainable forest city with all the principle of green, smart, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable.
Is there a risk that future governments in Indonesia might flip on this project and cancel it?
Yeah. So it will be very difficult to change the course, of course, for that, right? I'm not saying that it's impossible, but you know, it's very difficult for that.
But are you worried that costs are going to blow out and that the Indonesian taxpayer will end up footing much of the bill?
I hope that at the end of the day, we are going to find some creative financing. We need from the state budget because we needed to jump up and also to create the confidence of the private sector and to create some comfort for the investors to come. Because they must see that the government itself is committed, right?
You don't lose any sleep over meeting these deadlines?
Of course, I lose some sleep. Sometimes I dream about always about my work here, but that's part of the life and that's part of my job.
Back in Jakarta and back to the smog and traffic. Economist Yusuf Wibisono has been watching the rollout of the new capital closely. He says Indonesia can't afford the project and it won't attract investors.
Ada kemungkinan besar ya, bahwa keberlanjutan IKN ini nanti akan dievaluasi oleh pemerintahan berikutnya. Meskipun saat ini presidennya dalam janji-janji politik itu sangat akan mendukung keberlanjutan IKN, ya, saya meyakini bahwa nanti pada titik tertentu, ya, mereka akan sampai kepada momentum, ya, dan mungkin juga keberanian politik untuk mengevaluasi IKN.
He also says it's rushed and undemocratic.
Jadi kita melihat memang ini keputusan yang tidak demokratis sejak awal. Bahwa ibu kota ini dipindahkan tanpa menyerap aspirasi publik, tanpa mendengarkan masukan-masukan para ahli, tanpa melihat atau membandingkan dengan pengalaman-pengalaman negara-negara lain secara memadai. Jadi kita melihat ini sebuah hal yang sangat terburu-buru.
Is it difficult to speak out against it?
To be honest, ya. Tapi di sisi lain tentu kewajiban moral kita dalam lingkungan demokrasi kita yang menurun hari ini memang menjadi sulit, ya, untuk mengkritik pemerintah secara terbuka.
Will this project end up being a white elephant?
Saya punya proyeksi, ada kemungkinan IKN ini akan menjadi proyek mangkrak, proyek yang terhenti di tengah jalan begitu. Bahkan mungkin bisa disebut kota hantu mungkin, ya, ghost city.
It's Sunday morning in the city centre. What's normally a congested landmark, now transformed. In a city with little green space, this window for a few hours is a chance for people to get out and about.
Biasanya kalau hari biasa macet karena situ kan pusat orang pasti bekerja. Untuk berangkat kantor, pulang kantor, pasti di situ titiknya yang isinya ada motor, mobil, segalanya.
Car-free Sunday is a regular fixture for thousands of people here, and a weekly ritual for friends Haris Mauludin and Arif Ambar Prastio. But Haris and Arif won't be doing these weekly runs for too much longer. As civil servants, they're in line to be moved soon to Nusantara.
Nggak siap. Di situ kita punya suatu perjanjian siap ditempatkan di mana saja.
Arif, you'll be one of the first people to move to the capital. How do you feel?
Kalau diinformasikan ketika kita harus pertama kali pindah tentu nervous. Deg-degan mikirin nanti keluarga seperti apa, pendidikan anak seperti apa, fasilitas kesehatan seperti apa. Karena Jakarta kita sudah punya banyak kenyamanan dan juga memang representasi dari kota ya kalau saya lihat ya Jakarta gitu untuk Indonesia.
But both agree Jakarta is overburdened and that a new capital will help ease some of the city's pressures.
Memperbaiki sedikit, kan, khususnya pusat itu mungkin sekitar kalau di itu mungkin ada 8-12% penduduk Jakarta.
Whether Indonesia will complete its grand design is yet to be seen. 2045 is a long time away. A change of government is imminent. Nothing's guaranteed. As far as Haris is concerned, this historic move to a new faraway capital is happening. But there's no doubt which city will remain home.
Nanti ke depannya pindah, ya saya pasti harus menikmati, harus menjalani tugas. Saya akan tetap mengikuti aturan, pindah ke sana sampai dengan masa berakhir saya bekerja. KN setelah itu saya kembali lagi ke Jakarta, kumpul dengan keluarga, menghabiskan masa tua di Jakarta.